The saga of our Windows product is probably one of the better chronicled, and I'm sure many people went through a sort of a cycle either at home or at work with our Vista product. Just not executed well. Not the product itself, but we went a gap of about 5-6 years without a product. I think back now and I think about thousands of man-years. And it wasn't because we were wrong-minded and thinking bad thoughts and not pushing innovation. We tried too big a task, and in the process wound up losing essentially thousands of man-years of innovation capability. And so a discipline and an execution around the innovation process, I think, is essential. And in our business, last but not least, particularly for this talk, there are big technology shifts that happen. And John talks about big market transformations, making the bet. I probably think there are very few of them, and the really big ones you have to totally jump on, whether you're playing to take an existing business to the next level or you're trying to break into a new business. And we are right now, all of us, actually in the midst of one of those. And I'm going to talk about this thing we call the cloud. It occurred to me as Craig and others were up here, cloud, cloud, cloud. Not clear to me that the CEO Summit audience will be deep and rich in an understanding of what is the cloud. We went and did just some kind of interviews for a speech I had to give at the University of Washington with students. And you would be amazed. You would think the student audience, but it sort of embodies a buzzword that's become very important in our industry, and it represents the next frontier. Craig kind of talked about this as the combination of what he called cloud and natural user interface, and I'll explain in a minute why I think those are related. So we sit here and we look at these things and say, how are we doing? Are we driving forward? How do we improve? I forget exactly Kevin's quote from Sam Walton, but essentially, thou willst improve them thyself. And if you want to assess health in a technology business, you're going to wind up looking essentially at the kinds of things that I have on the slide. In our own case, we apply another lens on top of that, which is not only are we in the right areas and maximizing innovation, but are we being forward-looking enough, or are we being too forward-looking? What is the right window for innovation? 6 months? 10 years? 3 years? It turns out that having a perspective on the time frame that you're trying to intersect is incredibly important. We have bet on things that were too far in the future, and there's kind of this gestalt now in the internet business that everything happens in 6 months, which is patently nonsense. You know, if you talk to the guys like Evan who build a great company, there's a lot of tough, hard engineering work that doesn't happen in 6 months, not in the internet business nor in any other. So picking the right time frames and windows to bet on is absolutely essential. We've been betting and investing on the cloud for, in some ways, about 10 years, and in earnest, and in a way that I think is market impactful, we've been investing for about 6 or 7 years. And yet it's only now that this Uber bet, I think, is going to start really impacting certainly our business customers. On the consumer side, we're already far more, I would say, in midstream. In our own cases, we look at the move to the cloud. One of the things to ask is, do we like the portfolio of areas in which we're investing? We invest in the PC, the phone, and the TV. Those are intelligent devices that are going to continue to morph. Craig showed you a little bit this morning of this Natal technology. But it's not really just for playing video games. You want to watch TV, you want to have a video conference, you want to talk to your friends across the internet. There's one little shopping application they like to show where, in this case, they picked a couple teenage girls, get a chance to put clothes on one another virtually across the internet. It all works perfectly well in that kind of simulated environment with a catalog of clothing. These are areas of innovation. PC, productivity, communication and collaboration, server and service, decision engine. I've heard a number of people drop the what shall I say? the swear word around here. You can Bing yourselves after this meeting if you like. That's a replacement for whatever you might have done earlier with the other guy's product. www.bing.com. I'm tempted to send everybody the results of their own Bing queries, including the Twitter results, which are very nicely integrated so you can see what people are saying about you, if you wanted to, real time. And of course, the area of the phone. There's so much area of landscape and technology that we're passing on. And yet we have by far the broadest footprint of anybody out there. And the question we ask in the cloud environment is there something new that we have inspiration for, vision for, that we should take advantage of this unique transformation? And right now, I'd say we got our hands pretty full. And yet every day I'll have employees who'll say, come on, there's this cool new area. Or so-and-so company's doing really well. Why don't we just kind of jump into that? And the pressures in a dynamic business, I'm sure we all well understand. So what is this cloud thing we talk about? In some senses, I think that the best way to think about the cloud is it's a place where we will all work, we in the tech industry and all of the IT people who work for companies like yours, will work to fuse the best of what we think of as the PC today, the phone, the TV, the internet, and the corporate data center. And it's a land of opportunity. I was with one of the CEOs in the audience who's a business partner of ours, Bernard Charles, whose company does design software for product design, product lifecycle management, and the like. And he was saying, look, we've got a great business. We've built it up. Many of the most important products in the world are built and managed with our software. And yet, with the cloud, the ability to let our customers get that stuff deployed more quickly, at less cost, with more agility, to share information better between suppliers and their vendors in terms of product design information, it's a phenomenal opportunity to change the way things work. And we're fusing concepts that come essentially from these multiple areas. When people talk about the future of content and what will happen with movies and TV and music, the truth of the matter is none of those things will exist in the future in the way we know them today. There will be integrated content experiences delivered electronically to multiple devices with more intelligence behind the content than we've ever seen today. We're already experimenting that with a number of partners. For example, in the context of Xbox. What ads would you want to see? How do you build advertising in as a fundamental concept? How do you then show people what they'd be interested in? How do you provide interactivity into the sports event that somebody might be wanting to watch? So fusing the best of these notions. There is incredible opportunity in the cloud. Incredible opportunity. There will be more inventors creating more interesting innovations and having better access to customers globally, whether they want to bill a business, sell advertising, charge a subscription. The opportunity and the opportunity for companies like ours to build the infrastructure to enable that is quite high. A lot of the dialogue in the press today focuses in on the responsibilities that will come with the cloud. Privacy. What are the right standards on things like privacy and censorship? What are the right practices and technologies? When we go talk to companies like yours about the cloud, the first thing you'll come back with is, what about security? What about uptime and availability and the like? So there's a set of new responsibilities that will get born, and actually a set of new innovations that get created. I get asked a lot about privacy and policymakers, this, that, and the other thing. I have to say, maybe in the sense of the old expression, to a man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. To the guy who runs a software company, everything looks like a software problem. Privacy Is there some absolute standard of privacy that everybody believes in? Probably not.